Well, let me ask you a follow-up. That is a fire hose of information, which we appreciate. We know that you are well honed on the campaign trail to kind of talk about what you're going for, especially in California. How much I'm not familiar with a lot of elections being turned in California based on problems with voting, problems with registration. What's the big voting fraud that you're seeing? Because I guess I have not seen any kind of election-changing levels of voter fraud in California.
This is because the Democrats have been sweeping it under the rug for so long. You have to ask yourself, how is it possible that the California Democrats could run the state legislature for 39 of the last 40 years, both houses, Senate and the Assembly? And you start to ask yourself, how is it possible that over 1 million people that are here in our state illegally, illegal immigrants, how could they have gotten driver's licenses in the last 3 years? Alex Padilla, the Democrats' Secretary of State, would tell you there's nothing to see here. The DMV would tell you there's nothing to see here. There's no illegal voting. There's no fraudulent voting. And none of these people have been registered to vote. So look, very simply, in January of this year, I called for an audit of the DMV. If they have nothing to hide, then let's audit every single voter roll in California. And let's put that against a very simple database of U.S. citizens and California residents. If the Democrats are telling the truth, you would imagine they'd come forward. We can fix this in about 20 minutes. But as you would imagine, to date, they have denied every single attempt to audit the DMV, to audit the Secretary of State, to audit our voter rolls, to get rid of the people that may be voting illegally, the people that have passed away, or the people that have moved out of state. This is a massive problem in California. And if the White House is listening, Donald Trump and Jeff Sessions got to come to California, and you guys got to sue to open up our voter rolls and get rid of the election fraud. If there's nothing for the Democrats to hide, they should have no problem with this. Unfortunately, as we've seen, they have stopped every single attempt to get transparency on the voter rolls in California.
Well, what is the percentage, or what do you think the percentage is of illegal immigrants voting into our California system?
I have no estimates whatsoever. I have no idea. But to believe the words of Alex Padilla and, the California DMV, who say there's absolutely none of that happening here in California, I think that's a little bit difficult for anyone in the state to believe. And look, it's very simple. We don't even have to conjecture. We don't even have to place a guess. All we need to do is audit the DMV. It'll take about 20 minutes to line up all those people who have been registered to vote against a very simple database of U.S. citizens and California residents. And within about 20, 30 minutes, we can have our answer. If there's nothing for them to hide, they should be more than willing to do this. Unfortunately, as we've seen, they have been sitting on their hands for quite some time now. And certainly over the last 3 months, we've heard absolutely nothing from the Democrats because they clearly don't want the people of California to know what's actually happening with their election systems.
Well, let me ask you this. I hear what you're saying, and we could go back and forth, but I don't think it would be fruitful here. One of the other questions that we had here, and something interesting came out about it here in just this last week or two. There's some reason that the Republican Party in California is within, a couple of percentage points, I believe, of being, the third most registered group in the state of California. First being Democrats, second being independents, and then, independents and Republicans are essentially neck and neck at this point. I'm wondering, Pete Wilson, I think it's fair to say, ran on a lot of what you are talking about back in the 90s, and with the exception of Arnold Schwarzenegger, a Republican hasn't been elected to the state governorship since. Is there?
And Schwarzenegger almost doesn't count, right?
Well, okay, exactly. All right, you said it. We didn't say it. But do you think that maybe it might be that the population of California is not finding what the California Republican Party is going for all that appetizing?
Absolutely not. I'll tell you what's been lacking in California is leadership. California voters are as conservative as they are anywhere else in the country. This myth that somehow California Republicans are different than Republicans anywhere else in the United States is simply not true. California has more Republicans than any other state in the nation. Let me give you an idea. In 2014, Jerry Brown got elected with 4.3 million votes. In 2016, Donald Trump in California, when he didn't even campaign here, got 4.4 million votes. Literally, all we need to do is turn out the Trump voters, and I will be your next governor of the state of California. We will get a rock-solid Republican like Ronald Reagan again in California. But the answer is this. When JFK was president of the United States, there was a generational shift to people voting Democrat. When Ronald Reagan became president of the United States, there was a generational shift back to people voting Republican. California has lacked a state leader with strength to truly motivate and bring the state back to where we used to be, which is the greatest state in the nation with the best roads, the best schools, the best water system in the country. Instead, we've gotten people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who sold out Republicans just a year after they were elected. He ran as a conservative, he did his ballot initiatives, and once he got beat, he turned into a Democrat. I mean, literally, he went home and there was a Kennedy Democrat waiting at home for him. He went to the office, there was a Democrat chief of staff, and then he gave us AB 32, the Global Solutions Warming Act, which costs all of us a ton of money. And now he's talking openly about suing oil companies and bleeding the Republican Party dry. The answer is that Californians have lacked a true leader for decades now in this state. And I'll tell you right now, that's all about to change in 2018.